This is a biographical conversation with my father, George Ruston, taken on the 25th of November, 1971.
Dad, when were you born? I was born March 16, 1884. What town? In Rowley Regis. Who was your mother and father? And my father was Joseph Ruston, and my mother was Martha Ruston. What did your dad do? My father then was retired. He used to be a foreman in Dalton's, and he wasn't retired when I was born, though. For some years after I was born. And then he retired, and then he began preaching, and I've been preaching for some time.
How many brothers and sisters were around at the time you were a lad?
Well, there was my brother Sam and my brother Frank. He only lived, though, to be 4 years of age, and I used to play with him very much and enjoyed him very much. But one morning, as I left him on the stoop looking at me as I went down the street to go to school, the blind man's dog, Blind Joe's dog, had slipped in by him into our kitchen. And when he heard Mother coming from the wash house to the kitchen, he ran away and knocked my brother Frank, who was looking at him, down the steps, which caused Frank to have a concussion of the brain and died when he was 4 years of age. This was a great blow to me, as he and I played together so much.
What schooling did you have?
Well, I went to school when I was very young, and my teacher was Mrs. Woodhouse, and she was very kind, and I just loved her and used to enjoy. She was so kind to children. And I began to go to school, I think, when I was 4 years of age. I remember running down the street once, and when I got to the bottom of the street, I saw a man coming on horseback. He was a male man, and I fell right into the gutter right by, as he passed by, and I was afraid the horse would tread on me, but the horse was in the middle of the road, of course. One of the earliest things I remember when I was going to school. So that was further on in school. There was a man named Mr. Swallow. He was a small man, but a very unkind creature. And I used to go and take the breakfast to the workmen down at Dalton's, and there was a Miss Corvisa who came from a mile further on up towards Nuneath, and she asked me to go and get a parcel for her, which made me late getting to school. And when I got to school, Mr. Swallow said, here's Ruston late again, and he gave me 10 stripes of the cane on my hands. And Miss Corvisa stood over in the distance and cried while I was getting this whipping. And it so wrought on, well, I wonder, I don't know why, but he so made me disgusted with him that same day I was just brooding over the treatment I'd had, and he says, Ruston, get up and read the next page. And I got up and I turned to the wrong page, and he came round and gave me a slap with a cane and said, I did not tell you to read that page. And I was so mad, I just went and pushed, as he went into the next seat in front of me, I pushed the seat right up against the next seat and cornered him there. And Miss Corvisa was watching from the next class, and she began to cry. Well, he came out and he attacked me with his cane, and I just, as I say, caught him right in between the two seats and held him there. Well, you know, Mrs. Taylor, who was one of the neighbors, she said there ought to have been a coin struck for it, that George Ruston had sense enough to stop him from his whipping me, you see, because I was late to begin with because of Miss Corvisa.
How old were you then?
Oh, I must have been about 12 years of age, 12 or 13 years of age. He was only a small man, and I was a strong boy at that age.
When did you go to West Bromwich?
Well, I had begun to go to West Bromwich then, and I used to go of the evening to West Bromwich drawing, and I would go every evening, and then Saturday I would go Saturday afternoon and stay till 9 o'clock at night. When the school closed, then I would walk back home.
What school was this?
That's the West Bromwich School of Art. Donations for years I took 13 examinations in art and passed them, and then they said, you should apply to go for a scholarship to the Royal College of Art. Well, I worked very hard, and I came, I think, 9th in the country. No, 2nd in the country. But I didn't get the scholarship because there was only one given. Well, then I quit working at Dalton's and studied all the time. Paid mother my so many shillings a week for my board, which I'd saved. And I went to school, to art school, all the year. And when I took my examinations, I came 15th in the country. Well, I concluded that I had studied too hard during the period of the exams, and there were quite a lot of examinations, and so the next year, instead of studying, when the examination time came, I went out in the country with the boys sketching, and I'd come back in the afternoon, fresh, ready for the exam, and I came 2nd in the country, so I got a scholarship to the Royal College of Art.
When did you do the work on Tommy Civiter's bus?
Well, that was, I did that in the summer holidays, you see.
While you were still going to West Bromwich?
West Bromwich, yes. But at a price, right up at the back of where Aunt Tilly lived, there was a lawn that they had a bowling alley there. And there was also a building, and Tommy came up and stood in there for me, and I modelled his head there in that bowling alley, and I cast it and took it to college and got that prize. In fact, it was in the Royal Academy. That's the head you got.
Yes.
Yeah.
What age were you when you went to work at Dole?
I went to work when I was 13 years of age. I was shop boy, you see. I'd sweep the shops and run errands and anything that I had to do. And I didn't get only a very small wage, but that's when I started at Dalton's.
Had Uncle Will left when you were a child?
Oh yes, Uncle Will. They would come over, and visit us. If Uncle Joe or Uncle Tom or some of them would come and visit us, and we were very often had them coming over. And that's why I thought someday I'd go to America too. But while I was going to West Bromwich School of Art, Mr. Johnson, who was the manager at Dalton's, he could see that I was getting to be quite good at doing ornamentation, sort of just little ornaments that I made for borders and that kind of thing. And so when the head artist came from London to do work at Rowley Regis at the pottery there, I would be sent to assist him. And so I began to do ornamentation, small ornamentation there, before I got my scholarship to go to the Royal College of Art. Back to the school. And it was because I went the extra that it made me late for school, and the schoolmaster gave me...
What was the name of the place now? Netherton, you say?
Well, it was Derby and... Yes, Netherton, I think that was the name of the place.
Yes.
And later on, Anne, my sister, Anne married John Prince, and he worked at the furnaces up at Netherton, and so I had to go right by her place, and I had to go up there with his dinner, and it took me much longer again to get back to school, and I had quite a rush to get there, and sometimes was late and